thank you for attending today, Dynamics Day. My name is Stephen Foster. I'm the CRM product manager at Intergen for Dynamics CRM. That role sees me doing a number of different things across Intergen, mainly looking at how we take CRM to the market, how we work with our prospects and our customers, keep delivering the most value we can for CRM. And up on stage, I've also got Dylan. Dylan is a solution architect at Intergen. He's also a CRM MVP, which I like to call out. We're one of 56 MVPs in the world on CRM, so he's got a lot of experience and knowledge around the products as well. So what I'm going to cover is just a quick recap of Intergen's CRM years. There's some good stats up there. And then really kick off into really the roadmap of CRM, obviously focusing a lot on CRM 2013 and a little bit into the future. And Dylan's going to hand over to Dylan to do a demonstration of CRM 2013, showing you some of the new user interface, the Windows 8 client, also the iPad client as well. So you can see the similarities between the iPad client and the Windows 8 client. And then really look at the benefits of 2013 and then how Intergen can help with you making that a smooth transition. So if I look at Intergen's year, it's been quite a big year again, as it was last year. Since last Dynamics Day, we've added another 10 new consultants to the team, taking it to probably around about 45 plus, and on top of that, some of the support team as well. We've had over 30 new CRM customers added to the portfolio and delivering work for those 30 because of in different varying levels. We've done over 150 CRM project engagements, again, varying across a different range, whether that's some diagnostics, whether that's full implementation, but across 74 customers. We can see, so on average, those customers are doing 2 or 3 types of engagements with us over the year. Since last Dynamics Day, our largest deployment has been 800 seats, an on-premise deployment of CRM 2011. And what I thought would be quite an interesting stat, if I could pull it, was well, how many seats have we actually delivered since the very first version of Dynamics CRM version 1.1? And the stats I came up with is a rough round about 5,000 seats we've actually delivered of CRM since the first release. And the top industries for this year has been public administration, retail, manufacturing, and healthcare. And the only reason I was able to pull out those top industries is because when we moved to CRM 2011, we also looked at how we could segment our customers better, and we deployed using the ANZIC code level 1 and level 2 across our accounts. And as a result of that, I was then very easy able to say, well, look at all those past opportunities for the year and where did they fall within the ANZIC code, and it came up with that information. So it was actually quite a useful exercise. But when I look at CRM line and hosted and on-premise, just as last year, really, it's on top of mind that everyone's talking about how do we go to the cloud, what do we do about the cloud. But actually, we see that the majority of customers are still going on-premise. There's a good proportion talking about cloud and looking at cloud, but the majority are going either with a hosted partner or going on-premise in their own servers. That may change again this year. It might increase the numbers going to online, but at the moment, it's still the thought path of hosted or on-premise. My sort of role as a product manager is also to look at partner add-ons out there and look at which ones we can choose to extend Dynamics CRM. And since last year, I've added 2 to the portfolio, one which is MS CRM add-ons, which offer sort of a document core pack, so extending the mail merge capability of CRM, plus telephony integration and then some other products as well. But the core about that is it's a certified for Microsoft product, so it will roll up with each of the new releases. And also XRM1, which is a project management extension for Dynamics CRM. Recently, we just got an award from ClickDimensions, one of our partners, that we became one of only 12 gold partners for ClickDimensions, only one of 2 in the Australasia, which was quite a good pull out for us from being, New Zealand and Australia based, to actually be one of 12 out of 400 partners worldwide was a pretty good feat for us to achieve. And from a Microsoft perspective, we're still delivering a lot of activity for Microsoft. And one of the ones I wanted to pull out was, I don't know if anyone's seen it or actually looked at the US version of crm.dynamics.com, but you'll see that there's something called the test drive up on their website. And the test drive is all about, rather than downloading a trial and going through a trial, it's actually going through a click-through examples of playing different roles within the organization and how they might interact with CRM. And we develop that test drive experience for Microsoft, which customers in the US and Europe can access to have a trial of CRM. So it's been a very busy year for us, and we see the year ahead going to be equally just as busy, with some exciting changes with CRM 2013 and the opportunity for those potential upgrades to that. So the road ahead. If the date or any dates you see on here, they obviously they could change. We think they're pretty much fixed, but just as a caveat, things do change. So don't hold me to anything which I show or say. So when I look at Dynamics and I look at CRM, and there's always been a sort of a mission statement for Microsoft and how they deliver CRM, and it's always been about how do we equip and inspire individuals to do their work better with the fewest amount of clicks, with the ease of accessing information, the ease of actually working with the tool. And I think with CRM 2013 and from 2011 moving to 2013, we're sort of seeing that really coming to fruition now. So if I look at some of the, before I get on to talking about too much about 2013, if I look at some of the trends and keys to touch upon a few of these earlier around the trends impacting the CRM marketplace, then just like keys, they really fall around people, technology and process. But from a CRM perspective, what I mean by people, technology and process is, from a person perspective, the next generation of users of CRM are coming from the iPad device. They're coming from tablets, whether they're Android, Windows 8, iPad. They're coming from experience, and they expect that they should be able to walk into any organization, pick up the CRM tool, pick up a tool and actually use it on any device, and that they expect to be able to get their own laptop or their own tablet and access CRM and work with it as they do any app on any device they use today. So it should be easy to use, easy experience, and obviously that's impacting how you go about deploying CRM for those users. And also that there's, through the social, through mobile apps, there's this whole feeling of gamification of CRM, that people like to play games. They want to challenge themselves against other people within the organization. And how do we bring that trend to CRM to give people and encourage people to use CRM from an adoption perspective by making CRM like a game? So how many phone calls did you do this week compared to the other people in the organization? How many opportunities did you close versus the other people in the area? So how can we gamify CRM to drive the adoption of CRM, just like the adoption of social media or other types of apps on the device? And also, you've got to drive also a very clean user experience. People now don't want lots of screen popping up. They don't want a device where they've got lots of clicks, lots of options. They want it really simple. They want to keep it really simple, so from an average user, they can pick up the device and just use it. From a technology perspective, it's really, I think everyone knows this, cloud, the concept of big data, so all this data existing out there in the world, and how do we actually take this big data and actually utilize it within our CRM, or even the big data that we've got in our existing systems, and how do we use that to enlighten the CRM space. Devices, so many devices out there now, how do I take advantage of those devices in a CRM space? And from a process perspective, what Microsoft are talking about process is that in the past, the CRMs, CRM 4, CRM 3, 4, 2011, they've delivered a solution, and it delivered that solution with a way of, without really any process behind it. It says, here's some accounts, here's some contacts, here's some opportunities. You use it how you want to use it, without telling people actually how they should use it, and giving far too many options for people to actually navigate around the tool. So what they're trying to say is that actually the partners who deliver CRM should be focusing on the process of how to actually implement CRM within the business, rather than focusing on how to actually put the system together in the first place. So they're delivering a lot more capability out of the box around process, for which partners can then just extend that to say, well, this is the actual flow you take through the system. And what that leads to, I suppose, from a 2013 perspective, is the next generation of CRM focusing on clean user experience, focusing on delivering an application which you can access in any browser, on any device, giving the sense of very much like a consumer app versus a business app. They're colliding, and that you experience through CRM now just like you might experience any other sort of app on your device. So it's a very smooth interface and very easy to get on and use. So the release plan for the current release plan for CRM, just so everyone's aware of, we're in October, and the CRM Online Fall 13 is what it's been called, which is the Orion release, or CRM 2013, has been released to market now. So if you were to go on and set up a trial on the crm.dynamics.com, you would be delivered a CRM 2013 environment. CRM 2011 no longer exists in the data set, well, other than any existing customers on CRM 20 Online. Any new customers will immediately go on to CRM 2013. We're expecting the on-premise release to be towards the end of the month, to be able to install the on-premise. What we're seeing with the online, and they're keeping to this story, is that online will always get the newest releases, so twice yearly updates to CRM happen in Q2 and Q4 of each year. And for on-premise customers, then the Q4 release, which is this release now, which is Orion, will include all previous updates which were included in CRM 2011. So if you were to go on to CRM Q2 next year, you'll have a different version of CRM to what an on-premise customer would have. You'll have new features which they wouldn't actually have access to. And roll-ups, a key change in the roll-ups focus is that roll-ups will now only include bug fixes or feature fixes. They won't include any new features themselves. So a historic issue with CRM 2011 was that certain roll-ups included enhancements to features which cause customers issues. Those will no longer be included in roll-ups. They will be only included in the actual releases. The Mira and Leo is the next sort of major release for online, and Mira is sort of a pre-release for Marketing Pilot and tighter integration with Dynamics CRM, which is only available currently in Europe and America. CRM 2013, which I'm sure what you're all here to hear about. So the principles behind CRM 2013 is the fact that it should be simple, usable, modern, fast, and loved, which is Microsoft's new sort of concept, designed for love. So creating software that people actually want to go and use. So rather than creating a system going, oh God, I've got to go and use that CRM again, and I don't know where to go, it's actually designing a tool which actually people are quite happy to flick up, update some information and go in and not be scared to go into, actually like going into the application. But to achieve that concept of loved, then it needs to be fast, it needs to be modern, it needs to be usable. So how do we make a system that is easy to use, fast in the sense that it's going to load up in in an expectation level, it's going to meet the expectation of the user, and it's going to be simple. And hopefully you'll see through the demonstration some of those concepts really flowing through with CRM 2013. To the customers who've seen it already and the prospects who've seen it already, have really given some really good feedback about the user experience of it. So before I get into the demo, I'm going to just cover off some of the key points which you'll see through it. It's designed for you. So one of the key changes with CRM 2013 is everything's contained on one page. There's no longer pop-ups of screens. So as you navigate through the tool, your one page will change based on where you're clicking through. So if you open up an account, it will open up in the same window. If you click on a contact, it will open up in the same window. There's no pop-ups. So it's all opening up within the same window. And if you hit the back key, then you're just going to go back between those records. It's very easy and smooth to navigate. You've got some features like inline quick create, so you don't have to, if you want to quickly create a contact or quickly create an account or opportunity, then you can use the quick create just to take the basic amount of information and create that there's But you've got this concept of click to contact. So a lot of customers want the ability to click a number and that to interact with your phone system. So click to contact at the moment interacts with Link or Skype, and it will start with a Skype or Link phone call. But what it will equally do, it will automatically create a phone call activity, so you can start recording the activity of the phone call straight away without going new phone call records. So it will automatically prompt you to start recording the phone call details. And a key feature for making it usable and making it cross-device flavor is the fact that it needs to be responsive. So a new concept with website designs is responsive design. So the website automatically models itself to the device and the user interface that you're working with. So with CRM 2013, if you turn your tablet vertically, then the layout's going to change to reflect vertical. If you've got a small little iPad mini, then it's going to respect that you're working with an iPad mini and change the layout automatically to fit that device the best way it can. Another strong concept is this area around process. CRM 2013 is very much focused on how to deliver processes better in the CRM. Take a user through a set process. So if I need to take a lead through to opportunity, what is my business process from my organization perspective for moving them through that process? So it might have a number of stages. There might be some key required stages in there they have to do before they're allowed to move on. So let's take them on a journey. Let's take them and show them what they need to go through. The key thing here is you can have different processes. So if I've got a quick 1 hour sales cycle, quick process, straight start from the beginning, I can have a very small process. If I've got a long-winded collaborative sales process, then that can go through a greater detail of steps. And these processes are role-specific as well. So I can have different processes based on the different roles the people are playing within the organization. So as I said before, you can have required steps within the process. You can't move between the process steps until you've completed the previous step. And you can also easily configure these processes which are movable with your solutions. So you can create these processes and move them between solutions just for a simple editor, as well as making them span multiple entities. So I can take a person through a process of lead to opportunity to quote to order to invoice and take them through all those entities without them changing screens. So it just flicks the screens in the background based on where they're in the process. A good example of that may be a membership management process where I start with creating the contact, I then go on to a membership screen, fill out the membership, then I go on to taking the payment, then I go back and complete the process. So I can take a user through a designated process. And that process can be adaptable and flexible based on the role that person's playing in the organization. And to be able to deliver on the new devices, then obviously you need the ability to be able to access CRM on a mobile device. So not only can you access CRM through Chrome, Firefox, IE, browsers, you've also got now the access to an app straight from the Windows mobile store marketplace, and also from the Apple iStore as well. So you can now download an app to work natively with CRM 2013 at no extra cost to access CRM on a tablet. And the value with this mobile app brings is there's no extra development to it. So what you design in your normal forms and client automatically, responsively change to reflect what the experience might look like on a mobile device. And Dylan will take you through that experience both on an iPad and on the Windows 8 device. So the mobile experience enables the guided processes still, communication cards, and interacts with the actual device that you're working on. And you've still got all the sort of mobile analytics as well, so you can still interact with charts on the mobile device. One thing to say, just back on the mobile device, is it is an online-only device. It doesn't work offline. Well, it doesn't work technically fully featured offline. So what it has is an offline cache mode. What that means is it's expected that I'm walking around, I've got connectivity to my CRM system, I go into a lift, I'm looking at accounted, I lose my internet, I can still read and look at the information in the cached mode, but I can't update information until I go back onto a connection. So if you're working in a rural environment and you haven't got always a data connection, maybe the mobile app, which is provided with the CRM, is not necessarily going to work for you. But if you're working within an always-on mode, then it's going to work very well for you. Again, with CRM 2013, Yammer and social is very tightly integrated into the product, allowing you to have these cross-communications and conversations within your organization by people using CRM and people not using CRM, and those conversations being flowed up into CRM under the record which it's related to. So I'm going to briefly now probably hand over to Dylan, but just want to make sure I've covered up everything around 2013. The other key thing, which I didn't go on one of my slides there, is a great new feature of 2013, which is called Exchange Server Sync. What this feature is, and it's been requested multiple times in the past, is that imagine I'm on a mobile device, I'm on my phone or whatever it might be, and I want to create an appointment. So I create an appointment inside of my CRM, maybe using the Mobile Express or using CWR or using another app for my device. I create the appointment in CRM. That appointment in the past wouldn't have flowed through onto my native calendar on my device until I'd gone via Outlook and synced my appointment down to Outlook. Outlook would sync it to Exchange, and then suddenly it's on my device. Now I can see it on my phone and my laptop. With CRM 2013, it's really done removing the email router need, in the sense that you can now synchronize directly between the CRM server and your Exchange or POP3 server, which means if you create an appointment inside of CRM, it's immediately going to be on every device in every device's calendar. So if you create an appointment on the mobile device, it's going to show up on your calendar within your device as well, which means you're never going to be this out of sync mode where someone's creating an appointment inside of CRM, the person on the device doesn't know that their appointment exists for them and misses that appointment. So that works with tasks, emails, and calendar. Probably that's the majority. So what I'm going to do now is licensing. I've nearly forgot, didn't I? One slide. Licensing. So licensing has changed. So with 2013, the licensing model has changed and really introduced the concept of 3 levels of licensing. Rather than you buy one license and that gives you everything, it's down to saying, well, actually, there's different types of users, and those different types of users might need a different level of usage. So professional is pretty much full access, gives you all functionality of CRM, and you'll need at least one professional license for any deployment, which allows you to configure CRM and create workflows and do all the stuff. But if you don't use opportunities, or sort of the sales automation process, you use accounts, contacts, cases, activities, then you'll get away with using the basic license, which gives you all the capability of CRM, using workflows, all the functionality, but you just can't use opportunities. And pretty much that's the one main thing that it doesn't allow you. So if you're in a call center environment, you'll be able to use the basic license at a fraction of the cost of the professional. And then the essential license really is this concept where you're using CRM as a platform, and you're building some other form of application on top of it, which doesn't interact with any of the standard system entities like accounts, contacts, opportunities, and cases. It gives you access to all activities, workflows, dashboards, charts. You just can't interact with the core entities of CRM, so you have to create your own. So this is where you're really building ground up and building your own application. You can use the essential license. All 3 licenses give you access to the mobile client, Outlook client, web client. So there's no separate pricing for the mobile client. It's just included in your license cost. Hand over to...
Thanks, Stephen. Okay, so before we dig into a demo of what we have today, I thought I'd just talk briefly about what's coming in the future. So you've already seen a few things in the keynote presentation this morning. But really the short-term future, sort of over the next year or so, is Microsoft and the CRM product team leveraging off of a lot of the investments that they've made recently in terms of acquisitions of new businesses. So those sort of key businesses that they've acquired over the last 2 years are Skype, Yammer, Marketing Pilot, and NetBreeze, which you saw this morning. So from a sales and marketing perspective, there's plans to enhance the sales capability inside CRM, providing a lot more capability around prospecting, quote order and pricing management, as well as revenue performance management. So some of those elements come from the Marketing Pilot capability, and others are just enhancements to the actual sales components of CRM. The enhanced search marketing talks a lot about the Marketing Pilot investment. So there's things around digital asset management, working with landing pages to improve your search engine optimization and all of those kind of elements, and all of that information feeding back into your Dynamics CRM to provide you with better lead management and tracking. From a Skype and Link integration point of view, so as Stephen already said, there's capability now for click-to-call with both Skype and Link across the different platforms. Some of the enhancements coming there in the future will be things around contextual voice, video, and chat communication across those platforms being integrated with your CRM environment as well. Integrated social, that's the NetBreeze acquisition, so you saw a lot of that information this morning. So as it stands today, what you saw from NetBreeze is not tightly integrated with Dynamics CRM yet, but in the coming releases early next year, that's what's targeted for there. So that'll give you a lot around your brand management and your social care. Mobile, we'll see the mobile clients today. Currently, they're available for the Windows 8 platform as well as the iOS platform, being iPad at this stage. But there'll be some further enhancements around that to extend it to different devices. And then from a customer care perspective, some new enhancements coming there because customer care from CRM hasn't really been touched probably since CRM 3. There was a few enhancements in CRM 4, but service management and those kind of things haven't changed. So there's a lot of investment going into there around things like a new agent desktop experience for your call centers, some more powerful knowledge management and search, which is also leveraging on extended integration with SharePoint beyond what there is today, and things like multi-channel service and better SLA management. Okay, so now on to the demo. So for the demo perspective, we're just going to touch on a few of the key changes. If you want to see some more detailed things inside that one, inside CRM, then we can stay on the main laptop, thanks. Then Stephen's got a focus group session on CRM 2013 to do a bit of a deeper dive into the product. Okay, so that's what CRM 2013 looks like. I'm sure you've already seen a few screenshots around, and if maybe some of you have had hands-on already. So the things that I'm going to cover off at the moment are just some of the navigation changes. So for those of you using CRM 2011, the ribbon is now gone. So if there's anyone still using CRM 4, the migration might be a little bit easier for you. You don't have to go through the transition of getting a ribbon and having it taken away. So the ribbon has been replaced by what's called a command bar at the top here. So a lot of the drivers around this is to, one, enable touch capability. So most of the devices these days, even the laptops, are coming out with touch displays. So you've got bigger buttons, crisper, clearer, easier to touch with big fingers, but still working with mouse navigation as well. So yeah, so the command bar is broken down your core areas of CRM. One of the changes that's happened is the workplace is no longer there anymore for any new installation. So you're broken down into sales, service, and marketing, with dashboards being the base landing page for each of those areas. And then if we went into sales, then all of your sales-related entities are available from the sales section. And basically, the command bar tells you where you are with sort of a breadcrumb kind of approach across the top, so you can always see where you are. Then moving to something like accounts, you have recently viewed items that are quickly and easily accessible, so you can easily go into anything you've been working with regularly, or if you click on the main entity icon, it'll take you to your standard lists with your different views that you have. Okay, so if we go into an account, so you'll see as well no windows popping up. Everything stays within the same browser, and you can still pop it out if you really like, but for the most part, it's just a seamless navigation. So some of the changes in the form design, as you can see, is a much cleaner UI. So there's not a lot of things around. It gives you a bit more real estate, and as Stephen said, it's more responsive now as well. So depending on the device that you're accessing it on and your screen resolution, the forms resize and handle that much better. So things here, we've got what's been called the hero pane, which basically contains your either activity feed, if you're just using the out-of-the-box activity feed component, or if you're integrating with Yammer, then the feed will be replaced by your Yammer content, as well as insight into all of your activities and notes, and then things like standard integration into Big Maps. Okay, one of the other things that has come back from the past, it disappeared in CRM 2011, was quick create forms. So you have the ability to take a subset of the information that you require and have a small form to basically initiate a quick capture of information. So we can create an opportunity here with a limited number of fields that are required to be captured, and then save it, and then we can either stay where we were or actually drill down into the record that we've just created. So if you look at the opportunity, you'll see straight away that the process designer or process modeler is at the top of the form. So the processes are now available across all entities in CRM, and it's really about driving business process, whether it's just a process for capturing information, or in the case of an opportunity, driving your sales process and working through different stages and making sure you capture the basic required information. So a record can have a particular process defined depending on the type of record it is, as well as allowing the users to switch between processes as well. So to switch a process, you can quickly just switch and have different sales processes available, for example, depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve, and those will drive the different components. Okay. And then one of the other big changes is what's called business logic. So historically, if you wanted to enforce some business logic, things like minimum set of required fields, or making some fields visible or read-only depending on certain conditions, that required some form of development. You're now able to do that with the right permissions, of course, in a much simpler designer. So off of any record, you can create a business rule. And I'm not going to create anything fancy, but just give you an idea of what's there. We basically give it a name. You can define a condition, so we can say if revenue exceeds 100,000, then there's a set of default actions that you can make use of. So you can show a message, you can set another field's value, you can change mandatory requirements, and turn on and off visibility of fields. So it gives you a little bit more manipulation of the user interface directly from within CRM without any code.
And I suppose the key thing there, Dylan, is the fact that will flow down to the mobile device as well. So if you define business rules here, they'll also apply on the mobile devices.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So those are just some of the key things that we want to touch on in the actual browser client. I'm going to show you this is the Windows 8 mobile client. So you can see it looks slightly different, but the dashboard's driven by the same layout that you have in your dashboard inside CRM, so any changes to there are reflected here. And you have the ability to move around from a touch perspective. If we went into an opportunity, for example, then you can see that all the same information that we had on the opportunity in the browser client is here as well, including the process flow. So we can see here that where we are in the process stage, and those fields that were exposed by the process are visible here. as well. And then obviously you've got access to all of your entities that you need to work with from within here. And within the mobile client as well, if you're working on something regularly, you have the ability to take any of these records, and you can pin it to either your start menu in Windows 8 or to your dashboard, so you can quickly and easily access it. And then just to show you on the iPad as well, it's an iPad. And you have exactly the same experience. So it's exactly the same looking client, so there's no different learning curves for different users depending on what device they're using. All of your charts are visible here, and you have the capability to drill down into any data from any of the analytics as well. So if we take a pipeline chart here, apparently I've been signed out. Okay, well, that would explain that. But so, yeah, the device clients look exactly the same. Right. So let's switch back to there. Okay, so some of the business benefits of CRM. So we've already touched on most of these already, but obviously there's a simplified user interface, no more pop-ups. The hero pane, which is sort of in the center of everyone's screen, gives you contextual information about what's been happening with that particular record through either the activity feeds or the Yammer integration. Data entry has been greatly simplified, and there's also an element called quick view cards, which allows you to see related information all on the same screen. Process-driven, server to email sync, which Stephen spoke about earlier. The business logic, which has been called portable business logic, purely because you can move it around with all of your customizations as well, and mobile client enablement. Okay, from an upgrading perspective, so just touching on a few things here. We've got a focus group session as well after lunch. If anyone has specific questions you want to talk about or ask around upgrading from any version of CRM to 2013, then we can talk about those. But just in summary, the supported upgrade path for CRM 2013 requires CRM 2011 rollup 6 or rollup 14 or above. For the most part, it's relatively painless. It's an area that Microsoft consistently invests heavily in, is trying to make sure that the upgrade process works as simply as possible. But there are some challenges around if you made use of older code from CRM 4 and legacy. Most of the third-party add-ons have strived to be compliant by launch. And to date, so far, most of what we've seen have made it. Silverlight is only supported in Internet Explorer. The major change from a usability, a training, and probably from a cleanup and development perspective for an upgrade is around the UI. So obviously, because of all the changes in the way the UI works, there's usually a bit of investment in terms of changing what you had to make sure you adopt the responsive design from a layout perspective. And then sort of the recommended approach would be to set up a new 2013 environment, and then you can take a backup of your production database and import it directly into that environment, and it'll upgrade as part of the process. Okay, hand back over to Stephen just to wrap up this presentation.
Yep. So obviously what hopefully you saw there from Dylan is that the actual CRM 2013 itself has changed quite significantly in its sense of its look and feel and its usability. That actually with the Crm bar type navigation, it makes it very easy and obvious where a user is within the process, what they're looking at, where they are, whether they're in sales, they're looking at an account, they're working with an opportunity. It's very easy to navigate back and forward between those. There's no pop-ups. A big bugbear of version 4 and 2011 is lots and lots of pop-ups. That sort of all disappeared, so it's making it easier and more fluid for a user to actually work with the records. But what that brings, I suppose, is yes, you can take your 2011 or version 4 and move it into the 2013 environment, but what will that do is it will take your forms as they stand from a 2011 perspective and just convert them and just give them exactly the same sort of form layout from a 2013 without taking advantage of the sort of the hero area, the free column layout, the more condensed, I suppose, white space. So there's a number of things that Intergen can do to help you with that upgrade. We honestly believe it's not too complex an upgrade. It really, if you're on 2011 already, if you're from version 4, then obviously you've got a few more steps to go through. But what we can do is really help you do sort of a health check on your environment, make sure that all your code in your environment is using the relevant CRM 2011 endpoint, make sure that you're on the right roll-ups to support the upgrade, and look at how you can take advantage of the processes and the new form layouts. We can obviously do the system upgrade for you. If you're in a CRM online environment, then Microsoft will do that upgrade for you on your behalf. You just have to go in and evaluate it and make any necessary changes as a result of that upgrade. And if you are in the online version, I would expect that you would have received a number of emails from Microsoft telling you about the upgrade which is occurring, when it's occurring, and doing some compliancy checks just to make sure your environment will work directly in 2013. So we can do that upgrade. Some of the key areas I think which will impact the most really is around training. It's more about training the user how to take advantage and use the new user interface. So obviously moving from version 4 I think will be a simpler change to 2013 than probably a user on CRM 2011 which is very used to the ribbon and the navigation. So we can help you with what that user training should look like and actually help you perform some of that user training. Form redesigning is going to be a really key component of 2013 to really take advantage of the new functionality. We'll really be thinking about how do I present my information in a user-friendly way. What Microsoft is saying basically is that with that, you might have noticed with the navigation bar and what we call command bar, it was limited to a number of records. It only showed you a maximum 7 in the navigation bar. So it showed you accounts, contacts, leads, opportunities, and then there's a little arrow to go on to the next set. And then really the focus there is saying that you should not show a user any more than 7 or 5 key things they need to do with CRM. So only show them the key things they need to do, and that's what you should focus on. Anything which is greater than that, you put them in the side menu. So you put them in that little glyph when you took to go to the form editor. Those are all the other functions which you may do every now and again, but it's not primary role of using that record. Equally, with the mobile client, they've put a limit to 75 fields, which will go down to that model. So you'll notice that the navigation will scroll up or vertical down, with the focus being that top area of the page being all the core information the user needs to see to actually work with the record. So it's about how do I look at what information I'm capturing and make sure I position it correctly to give the right experience for the user. So we can help you with how that form layout should work and get the most value out of that. And obviously with the business process enablement, really there's an opportunity that if you'll say, like I know with our own production instance of CRM, we have our opportunity and we've put our own process in there by hiding and showing lots of sections. So at this point in the process, you need to tick these tick boxes or do these certain steps. There's lots of code hiding and showing things. We can remove all of that code and all of that from our system now and create a nice little clean process. So we can really work with you to help you take advantage of those business processes and actually work those into your system to give you a good customer experience, whether you're on the mobile client or whether you're on the browser client or Outlook client. So there's lots of things we can do to help you. Feel free to grab me, Dylan, or any of the team if you want any advice on how you can move to CRM 2013. We are holding 2 focus group sessions, one which is Dylan's running on upgrading, so if you have any specific questions about how to upgrade to 2013, then Dylan will be more than capable to answer those questions. And I'll be running a session which is a deep dive into 2013, so I can show you anything you might be interested in seeing in a bit more detail around the navigation, user interface, and how you interact with 2013, whether it's on Outlook, mobile client, or on the browser client. So that's all we have, and pretty much bang on 1:15. So if there are any questions, I can happily take them 1 or 2 now, or I'll just take them during the break or during the focus group sessions. Is there any burning questions at this point? Oh, yep.
Does the email sync to Exchange, does that remove the need to have Outlook client?
It can do for some users. Yeah, certainly for some users where all you're doing is you want to push appointments or push tasks down to their Outlook, then yes, that will work. But if you've got a Salesforce which is still using the Outlook feature set, like tracking some sort of more manual tracking of emails or appointments, and they're doing it from the Outlook user interface, they're still going to need the Outlook add-in. But it's more for those where you're creating them within the appointment or task or email inside of CRM, and you want it just to push to the Exchange server without going via Outlook. So for certain users, it can do without the need for Outlook, certainly. Yeah.
Are those licensing periods available on the online version?
Yeah, so it's consistent. So those licensing will apply to online and on-premise in exactly the same way.
What about users working in rural environments?
Yep.
Do you mind talking a bit more about potential use of case conversion or how the mobile app might work with
Yeah.
data access?
So what happens with the mobile client is that it basically, as you click through records, it's caching those records. So as you navigate through, it's caching an underlying amount of the data. So if you were to go into a rural area which has no data connectivity, you could still bring up the mobile client and you could still look at any information that you've looked at recently, but you won't be able to edit any of that information until you go back into a connected mode when you've got either 3G access or Wi-Fi access. So you'll still be able to access and look at data, you just won't be able to update it.
Will you be able to bench the data then? Will you enter the data in and then once you're
No, there's no edit capability. So it's just read-only.
Not through the mobile client for a Windows 8 tablet or an iPad. So if you're using the Outlook client, it still has an offline capability that you've had in the past. But that would be your only approach at this stage.
Yeah. But the mobile client specifically, offline is offline read-only. So it will work. It's really meant for, I suppose, the scenario saying that the majority of people are going to be working in environments where they've probably got a 3G connection of some sort. So it's about, I've got access, I'm working my data, I lose connectivity for a short period of time, I can still access my information. It's probably not going to completely meet the need of full rural environment where they might be offline for a whole day. There you're still looking at something like CWR as an add-on, or using the Outlook client, or looking at some purpose-built role-based application that you might have created. Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll call it that, and there'll be food outside and the focus groups following lunch. Okay, thank you.